The movie opens with two policemen rushing their injured partner to the hospital. Dr. Paul Kersey, who is a trauma doctor, is quickly called. When Paul checks the neck vein of the policeman, he finds that it is not pulsing and realizes that the policeman is dead. Paul lives with his wife Joanna and daughter Jordan in Chicago. Jordan is very happy to get admission to college. Joanna and Paul are also happy about Jordan's admission to college. The next day, Paul and Joanna went to Jordan's school to watch her football match, where they witnessed a man abusing his daughter for playing poorly. Paul tells the man to keep quiet, but the man gets angry and tries to fight with him. Then Joanna intervenes and forbids Paul from arguing with him. At the restaurant, Paul, Jordan, and Joanna meet Paul's brother Frank. A valet parking attendant named Miguel overhears them saying that they will all go out for Paul's birthday party at night. That's why Miguel copies their home address. At night, they all get ready to go out to celebrate Paul's birthday party, but Paul receives an emergency call from the hospital. Paul cancels his birthday party and goes to the hospital. Joanna and Jordan return home after shopping, and Joanna notices the marks of someone's shoes in her house. Suddenly, the criminals show up, grab Jordan, hold her at gunpoint, and prevent Joanna from calling the police. Among the three criminals, one takes Joanna to the vault, while the other two keep an eye on Jordan. However, one of the criminals attempts to rape Jordan. Jordan responds by using a dagger to strike the criminal in the face. Joanna also throws hot water on the criminal. The criminals shoot both of them and leave from there. Joanna dies in the hospital, and Jordan goes into a coma. Paul is very sad about the death of his wife. Detective Rains meets Paul and tells him that we will catch these criminals soon, after Joanna's funeral. Paul and his father-in-law Ben are returning home in the car. On the way, Ben sees some hunters, pulls out his gun, and fires at them, causing the hunters to run away. Ben tells Paul that the police always come after a crime has been committed. If we want to save our family, we have to take the law into our own hands. Paul gets frustrated with the police's lack of progress on the case and decides to catch the criminals himself. And the next day he goes to a gun shop to buy a gun, but he does not buy a gun after seeing the CCTV camera. When a gang member is brought to the hospital and his gun falls out, Paul secretly takes it and practices shooting. At night, two criminals hijack a car. Paul then shoots at the vehicle, causing it to crash into a pole, and he kills both criminals. Detective Rains reaches the accident site, but finds no trace of the killer. They watch the CCTV footage, but the killer's face is not visible in the footage as he was wearing a hoodie. A captured video of the carjacking goes viral, earning Paul the nickname Grim Reaper. After treating a boy who was attacked for refusing to sell drugs for a dealer called Ice Cream Man, Paul shoots down Ice Cream Man in broad daylight. Miguel is brought to the hospital in an injured state, and Paul treats him. Then Paul sees his watch in his hand and realizes that it is the man who broke into his house. But unfortunately, Miguel dies. Paul enters the ambulance and takes out the phone from Miguel's shirt. He opens the phone using Miguel's finger and also removes his watch from Miguel's hand. Paul sees a picture of a liquor store in Miguel's phone. He tries to call Detective Rains, but he cancels the call. Paul reaches the liquor store. Paul comes inside the liquor store and meets store owner Ponytail and tells him that I want a gift for my wife, and Miguel sent me here, and Miguel works in my restaurant. Ponytail gets suspicious and sends a message to his friend Fish to come to the liquor store as soon as possible. He then tries to pick up the gun, but Paul sees him and points the gun at him. Fish arrives and starts shooting at Paul, but the bullet hits Ponytail. Paul shoots Fish in the leg and asks him about the other two members of the group. But Fish only tells him the name of one person in the group, which is Joe. Then Fish kicks Paul down and is about to shoot him. Suddenly, a ball falls on top of Fish's head, causing him to fall down. In the ensuing fall, the gun fires and the bullet hits his throat, resulting in his death right there. Paul finds Joe and tortures him. Joe tells Paul the name of the last member of the group, whose name is Knox. Then Paul drops the car on top of Joe, crushing him to death. When Paul reaches home, he receives a call from the hospital and the doctor informs him that his daughter has regained consciousness. Paul immediately heads to the hospital and reunites with his daughter. Meanwhile, Paul gets a call from Knox and he asks Paul to meet him at the bar. Paul goes to the bar and calls Knox and the phone rings from the toilet. Paul shoots in the toilet. When he opens the door of the toilet, there is only a phone there. At the same time, Knox opens fire on Paul from behind. They both start firing at each other. After a lot of firing, Paul runs away from there. Paul starts to take Jordan home from the hospital. Meanwhile, Knox gets in the elevator, and Knox threatens Paul. At night, Paul hides his Jordan and kills 2 of Knox's companions. Then Knox shoots Paul from behind, but Paul takes out his rifle and shoots Knox. In the next scene, Paul drops Jordan to college and the movie ends here.